Oh man, all this snow. What's up, YouTube? So we got a lot of snow out here. I'm squinting because it's really bright out here, all this white snow. But yeah, we got work to do. Today we're going to be doing something I can do inside, and we're going to be working on the taillights. So as you can see, there's a whole pile of ice. I'm actually standing on the tarp right now because it flew off of the car, and then of course snow got to it. So I'm trying to brush off some of the snow, trying to take off some of the weight off the glass so I can lift it. And yeah, we're gonna be starting out with the middle section. So if I do mess up the middle section, I don't really care so much because it didn't really, it's not really my style to keep it. I've seen pictures without it. Actually, it's really nice. But we're going to be modifying this. So we're gonna start with this. So you can see I already have it open, have it propped up because it's really freaking heavy to open. So yeah, I'm going to snap my fingers and we're going to teleport back inside with this piece because it's too cold to do any time lapses out here. Just want to get it done. So, oh, that wasn't a good snap. Alright guys, back inside here again. We're in there nice and warm, and we got our package. Well, actually we got all 3 pieces because I heard it was gonna snow tomorrow, so let's just, decided to just bite the bullet and take out all 3. So let's get to the explanation of what my idea is. So you can see we have this little centerpiece here and then 2 over there. So we're going to try and put a light bar in between here and then block off the rest. So make it seem like the light is actually super small. So I got inspired by the Porsche 992s. So you can see this is kind of what we're going for here. You can see the Panamera, how that split in the center, and but this is what we're gonna go for, the 992. So further looking into it, kind of find a light bar on eBay, so that was pretty cool. I gotta zoom in and figure out, like, what does this thing really entail. Can't really get much from these pictures, but it was a nice shot. So we're gonna try and implement their ideas by using this. So we got this OPT7 48-inch branded tailgate light bar, and this light bar does all types of cool stuff. Red, white, and then the signals. I think it does like the whole sequential thing where it moves across, but not that important. The whole point is to get the whole light bar aspect across this, and get it, try and get it as neat and interesting as possible. Right, so heading back to the 992's taillights, you can see it is encased in glass. I believe they use fiber optics to get it this bright and whatnot. But yeah, we're going to use acrylic glass, and we're going to encase it inside this, and we're going to try and give it the same arch that this has. Not as extreme, obviously, because it's definitely not going to work because the back of the Porsche is fairly flat. You can just tell by the tail lights over there. So, but we're gonna try and make something out of this, out of acrylic glass. We're gonna get interesting or intricate with that later. But right now, we're just gonna try and figure out where we want it. I know that we want it in the upper portion because the bottom portion is a little bit longer, but it's a bit too low, and the way I want the spoiler to fit, which I am making like a chassis mount spoiler, kind of want it to sit up higher. So I think about here is good. I'm gonna find a way to chop this open and mount this up so it sits flush, and then add it to the other 2, start chopping away and inserting these things in. So just by looking at this, you can tell it's gonna fit real nicely. I did my measurements. The 48-inch one will actually fit way up to about here, and we'll probably like black out the corners along with the rest of this because we no longer need this thing to be red. Try and make everything look factory, but off rip you guys can tell like these tail light is definitely not in the best condition anyway. Look at this, there's a crack there and all that. So fully redoing these lights would be, you know, overdue really, because these lights really need to buy new ones. But new ones cost about 500 bucks, and this is a budget build. So we're gonna make it the best 944 budget tail lights you guys have ever seen. Now I do feel like acrylic glass would be a great candidate. You know, it's not fiber optic glass, but definitely on the cheaper side. And you can see when you put light to the edge of it, it shines really, really nicely. I also saw this on a Mustang. So you can see that they applied the light from the top, make it shoot all the way down. So that's actually really, really nice. So that's the whole like theme we're going for. And especially because this thing has, you know, multiple lights in it. Red, white, you know, it's like this. We'll have all the colors, and they all should shoot out of the edge of it. Like an example like this. Not as curved, but just like that. So this thing is actually really nice. When I saw this thing, I was like, wow, it's actually really nice. It's like they frosted it a bit. But yeah, that's the whole idea. Alright, we got this all cut out nicely and pressed in there. Try and get it as far back as we could. It was like several layers of glass, so if you guys are gonna do this, make sure you cut through both. Just to get it like that. So I'm gonna find a way to mount this in there. But yeah, everything is all lined up. Try to keep my lines straight. And this is more or less how it's going to look. So you can see that's the example. That's the goal. That's, you just kind of picture it on this car. Straight line. This is really nice. I think it will come out really nice. Right, so let's get to the other two. Alright, so after all that cutting with the Dremel, we got this thing sitting in here nicely. I cut it to about 1 inch thick because this is how thick we have of the acrylic glass, so this should be nice. Yeah, next step is to find out how we're gonna mount this thing in here. I do need to cut more of the middle so it can push in more, but after that I need to find a way how I'm gonna mount this thing. It might end up being mounted via this metal brake light piece, and then as we install the brake lights, they will fit in. But yeah, I got some thinking to do. I'm gonna figure this out. But that's more or less gonna look, you know, minus the whole tape, if you guys can see that. Just tape it up in there so I can get a nice idea of how I might keep this in here permanently. But yeah, back to the 1 inch acrylic. See, we got this acrylic glass. I'm gonna fit that in there nicely, and yeah, sand it down and curve it out. Right, so now we firmly secured the metal to the piece of light via these 2 bolts right here. Went ahead and took measurements. So I'm gonna cut that out and pull off the 3M tape off of there, because it made no sense you pull off the whole 3M tape. It's only about this much of mounting. And now we can finally move on to the fun part, the acrylic glass. So, started looking into these more. It's more like a 2-axis kind of bend here, curves into the body, and it's also super rounded off on the front half. Now I can't really find much pictures or information on these things, but it looks about 2 inches thick, rounded off, and just a light, you know, behind it in the background, and this is just like a clear piece to take the light from. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab over this acrylic glass over here, try and see how we're going to fit this in here. Now I cut a 1-inch slit, so this should just slide right in, right on top of it. And yeah, she looks really nice. The closer it is to the light, the better. You can see there's already a gap in between because it's like clear glass over the LEDs. So it's you gotta get pretty close so it can shine the light all the way through and to the end. Well, I was going through my inventory of, you know, stuff I used to use for back in my architecture days, and I made those 2 models. If you see them up there, got this piece of foam, so it's like the right thickness, and it looks like it fits right in perfectly. So we're gonna play around with this before we move on to the more serious stuff over there. So should be fun. Alright, so leave in the comments below. I'm pretty sure I made my decision already. If you want the long curve or the short curve. But I'm pretty sure the long curve is definitely better. So, alright, so we successfully finished our templates. One thing I need to do is power on this light, make sure it works, and then turn everything into acrylic glass. So, as you can see, with the curve here, that's where I got the whole idea from, with this curve. Oops. You can see, more or less curves around the body. But with the 944, it's kind of hard because it has like a real flat body. Let me see if I can get a side shot for you. As you guys see, it's more or less flat body. So, that's why I decided to actually bring some curvature to the rear end. Alright, not too bad with the bandsaw. We actually got the fitment pretty good. This thing is like, the curvature is like amazing on this thing. I need to match that side length to this side length. This maybe look like a little bit longer, but we'll worry about that when it's get on the car. But yeah, alright, so let's test and see if these lights work. Alright guys, well, we're on to the final step, and that's to get this thing mounted in to the taillight housing. But as you can see, we completely made this thing like crystal clear. I hope you guys can see. I know it's like poor lighting. Hold on. Boom. Look at this. This thing is glass. See, now while I was, turning it into this wonderful piece, this edge kind of, messed up. So that's why we're not going to finish the whole thing in this video. But stay tuned for the next. But if you guys want to see more of a build process, I feel like I documented it better on my Instagram. But yeah, I'll put a couple video clips of this thing shining light. This is a clip of it, not really sanded yet, but it's fully together, and basically like what it's gonna look like when it's finished. But yeah, so follow that on Instagram if you guys want a sneak peek into next week's video, or whenever I decide to finish this again. But yeah, next time we're gonna be putting this on the car. So if you saw in last week's video my poor attempt to trying to remove the snow, Mother Nature said forget that and decided to send another 6-inch storm. So yeah, definitely not going to put this on the car this video, but next time definitely. Right, so don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Never forget, never stop modifying.